With beautiful weather, seafood, ocean, and a lot of surf, Portugal is the perfect place where to slow down and enjoy the slow rhythms of this fascinating land. History behind. Very close to Spain, often estimated compared to the nearby Iberian Peninsula, but nonetheless with so much to offer. It has always been the perfect destination for surfers or those who want to get closer to the sport, and a favorite for those who choose to live their retirement years on its sunny coast, thanks to great weather and the fact of being one of the cheapest European destinations. As a base for my trip in Portugal, I opted for a small town facing the ocean 15 minutes by car from Lisbon, which is Porto Novo, a very quiet area where you can enjoy peace, quiet, sun, and an amazing ocean view. Obidos is a picturesque medieval town that seems stuck in time. Actually, around the month of July, you can attend in the medieval fair where you will be catapulted back in time amongst arlequins, noblewomen, knights and minstrels, all dressed for the occasion. And the only rule is to immerse yourself into the party. Obidos is located at 80 kilometers from Lisbon, the perfect half-day visit, spent among its cobblestone streets, shops, restaurants and medieval buildings. Nazarè is famous for its spectacular beaches, its maritime tradition and the gigantic waves that every year attract the bravest surfers and bodyboarders. We are talking of waves that reach 13 meters high. The point from which to admire the waves is Praia do Norte, where a small lighthouse is located from which to have a privileged position. Sintra is about 30 kilometers from Lisbon. It was described by the famous poet and adventurer Lord Byron as the Garden of Eden, and the most beautiful city he ever visited. The city seems to have come out from an enchanted forest, surrounded by castles and ancient buildings, with magnificent and rich architecture. It is no coincidence that the magic of this place has made it enter the UNESCO Heritage by right. A must-visit is the Palacio Nacional de Pena, its gardens and the chalet of Countess Edla. Tara Palace is a riot of splendor, paintings and decoration, and views that will leave you without breath throughout your visit. Lisbon, capital of Portugal, is a concentrated mix of the Portuguese culture, with its azulejos, street art, food markets, the narrow streets and the picturesque 50s trams that go up and down the neighborhood of Lisbon. It is a vibrant and multicultural city. As a starting point for my visit to Lisbon, I chose the Belém district, where is the anonymous Belém Tower. Having only a day at my disposal for my visit, and being a food lover, there was no better way to discover the city throughout its flavors and tradition of its food. My first stop is the famous pastel de nata, the traditional Portuguese pastry. And what better way, if not eating in the most ancient pastry shop of the city, which is Pastéis de Belém, dating back to 1837. It is actually said that the shop contains the original and secret recipe invented by the monks in the early 19th century. Let's then move on to the eclectic LX factory, a neighborhood born on the ashes of an industrial area. With 30-minute walk from LX factory, you can find the famous Mercado de Rivera, opened in 1882. It is divided into two main areas. One where is the traditional fruit and vegetable market, and the other one is the so-called time-out market, a huge space that goes from the Portuguese cuisine to Asian, French, Italian cuisine, and so much more. It is provided by an urban aura, innovative and frenetic. I could not end my visit to Lisbon without getting on one of its famous remodelado trams that rotate up and down the narrow street of the city. The best way to visit Lisbon is in fact to offer one of them and get transported by looking at the city from the window of one of these vintage trams. Where the land ends and the sea begins. It is the westernmost point of the European continent, located in the natural park of Cascais. Cabo de Roca is a promontory on the ocean whose anonymous lighthouse stands as the guardian of this place, with a wild atmosphere. 20 minutes from Cabo de Roca is found the charms of Boca do Inferno, famous for its flaming sunset that make this spot so suggestive. Convento de Cristo is a Templar monastery dating back to the 12th century, which has become a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and that honestly makes you feel like you ended up in a Nicolas Cage movie. The architecture of the monastery leaves you speechless, and even if you are not a history lover, I suggest you to visit this complex, embellished with decoration and sculptures. The frescoes inside the Carola, which is a circular Templar church, will leave you in awe, and then follow on and mark the imposing sculptures of the facades in a Manueline and Gothic style. Walk silently through its corridor full of history, legends, and ancient treasure, who lived and passed along the same corridors.